We have two prizes, not just the 2 Viking tickets you can register for. You can also register for a 1 fish house rental. That's 12 hours, value of $200, courtesy of next door's Bait Den. So stop out and do that as well. I'm joined now by author Andy Upchurch. Andy, how are you today?
I'm very well, sir. How about you, Jay?
Good. Your book, the Oleanders of San Leon. Can you tell me a little bit about the book?
Well, the book is about a lot of things, really. I live in the Galveston, Texas area, which is about mid-coast along the Texas coastline, if you can imagine that. And I'm a musician and a sailor. I was living aboard a sailboat and playing jobs at night with Jimmy Buffett kind of music and living the Jimmy Buffett lifestyle. So the book has a lot of funny stories in it about living aboard a sailboat and some funny episodes about some funny sailing trips I took and other boating trips. For instance, I took a trip from Galveston here to Louisiana on a jet ski. So there's a funny write-up in the book about that. After about 5 years of this Jimmy Buffett lifestyle, even I got tired of being in such a little bitty place. So I decided it was time to move ashore, and so I bought some uncleared land, and I decided to build a house myself with zero experience. Now, I'm a computer analyst and a musician and a sailor, and none of this has anything to lend to house building. So the book so part of the book is this hilarious account of somebody who's never built a house and doesn't know what they're doing.
Wow. So, I mean, is the house okay? Did you do a good job, or did it not work out so well?
The house is great. I'm in it right now as we speak.
Okay.
It's a little cottage, and it's just about a block and a half from saltwater. It's even just a little bitty cottage. It felt like moving into the Taj Mahal after moving off of a sailboat.
Well, I suppose.
Now, I did a few things, Jay, to make sure that it would come out well. I wanted it to be something that would be safe and strong and that I could be proud of. So I got a carpenter to sort of mentor me and walk me through building houses. He had built many and run lots of crews, and he was familiar with all the aspects. So he guided me through this, but I'm the one that sawed the boards and swung the hammer.
Wow.
And
that's quite an undertaking.
Input, the house came out, it's a pretty little house.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, are those stories, is that in the book as well?
Yes.
It is. Okay.
Yes, so the book is not at all a how-to book about how you build houses.
Right.
Lord knows I could never, even after building this little one, I could never write a manual on how you build houses. This is a funny account of somebody that's never done it before.
Okay.
And the reason I got the idea to do this, I was building this house, and all these funny and unanticipated things, I'll call them teachable moments, happened, and I thought, this would be interesting and funny and amusing to somebody who's never done it, who would like to read about it. And it is.
Well, and when you think about that, I mean, it is one of those things that, I mean, you kind of lived a life that's quite a bit different than a lot of people. So did you feel like that was even more interesting because you could, shed some light on some of the things that you've done that maybe other people would never experience?
Yes, which is why I thought, I really ought to work in a little story about this jet ski trip. I think that somebody, whether they ever wanted to ride a jet ski to Louisiana or not, they would enjoy hearing about somebody who did. Now, I'm not saying this is just a great monumental achievement. It's just something I decided to do, and I thought that I could write it up in a manner that people would find funny and interesting. I'm a technical writer right now by trade.
Okay. Now, is this your first book?
It is my first book.
Okay. And
the book is doing very well, at least in this area.
Sure.
And I'm quite proud of the book. It's bringing joy and laughter to people in a day and age where I think we could really use a lot more of that.
Well, yeah, no doubt about it. I think everybody likes a little bit of a laugh every once in a while. How about are you thinking of writing future books?
People are asking me that. And I don't really have any plans right now to put one out, but you never know. If something comes along that really beckons, then yeah, I would love to write another book, but I don't have any plans or any subject matter right now. this premise of building a house without any experience, I thought, man, what a strong premise for a book.
Yeah. No, it's a very unique one. I doubt that anyone else has ever done that.
And also in there, I sort of digress off into other topics, like being a musician. I was a music major in college, and I worked as a professional musician for several years, and I played in Las Vegas, and I was on the road and all that. I worked in a few of the funny stories from those days as well, because I thought people would find that interesting and funny. Like I did, I played one job with Chuck Berry down in our area, and that was such a neat and magical event in my life. I thought, somebody that's has never got an opportunity to do that, I'd like to read about it. But I didn't write it up in a boastful manner or, hey, look at me, look what I've done. It's not that at all.
No, when you're putting together the story, I mean, are you writing in chronological order? How did you construct it?
It is in chronological order. The book is really in the order that I built the house, and then all of the little snippets and diversions are sort of woven in there. I'll leave it to the reader to decide how skillfully I did or did not accomplish this. For instance, I talk about I use the whine of the skill saw to lead off into music by saying, a lot of people don't realize that the skill saw that's a definite musical note. And I have a natural gift from God called perfect pitch, and I'm able to tell that skill saw is an A, for instance.
Really?
So then I can use that to step off and talk about music and the days when I was this musical director in Las Vegas for a little while, for a page or two, and then I snap back into the building.
Wow. Okay, so you kind of jump around a little bit?
I jump around a little bit, but it's roughly in chronological order of the building of the house.
Okay. I mean, being a musician...
the funny thing about this, I am so tickled to be speaking to you and your radio audience, because when I was writing this house, it has always been in my mind, and I verbalized it several times to people around here, that I wanted to write a book that would be entertaining and funny and interesting, even to the avid reader in Minnesota. I use those exact words.
Right.
So here I am presenting the book to you and the people in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if the readers ever wanted to build a house before, or ever wanted to live on a sailboat before, or any of those things. It doesn't matter. It's still just plain fun to read this book.
Right, because you had a fun time doing it? I mean,
it was a blast. It was a regular adventure.
Well, and it sounds like it. I don't think a lot of people would take this kind of adventure on. I mean, we all do probably a little bit of work on the house, but as far as building a whole house from the beginning, I'm not sure how many people would take that up. Well,
before that, the extent of my building knowledge was only, like most people, just a few garage small projects. Mm-hmm. But I took this on as a project. I just wanted to see if I could build a house. And, again, I don't think this is any great thing. People build houses all the time. I understand this. But for somebody to take on something that is seemingly out of reach and then accomplishing it gives the book a definite, inspirational and hopeful element.
Yeah,
people around here that have read the book go, Andy, I want to start looking for land in San Leon. I want to build my own house after reading your book.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet. I mean, because of the experiences that you had. There's a lot of work that goes into that, though. How long did it take you to do it?
I was over my head for sure.
Yeah. How long did it take you to do it?
It took over a year.
Okay. Well, that's not too bad.
And a lot of those times several times in there were some down days. I go, man, I've bit off more than I can chew here.
Sure.
But I persevered, and I kept on doing it one day at a time. And pretty soon, lo and behold, there was light at the end of the tunnel where there was no light for a long time. And then one day, I thought, I'm going to be finished in a couple of weeks here. I mean, really finished. And it was such an exciting and giddy moment to realize that.
Right, and I bet you're proud every time you walk in there because you're the one who built it.
Oh, I just love it. It's a pretty little house. It suits me. It's not a very fancy house. It's got things like real hardwood floors, no fabricated building materials for me.
Okay.
And it's got marble countertops in the kitchen that I got very cheap at an auction on the Houston Ship Channel.
Now, what is the square footage of the house?
924 square feet.
Okay. And do you have a basement, or is it just one level?
It is built on piers.
Okay.
Here in this area, we flood, and as a matter of fact, this house did flood in a recent hurricane in 2008, Hurricane Ike. This house took 18 inches of muddy salt water in my living room.
Wow.
That was wild. I'd never been through a hurricane. And by the way, that is the epilogue of the book is about the hurricane and how the house fared.
Right, in Hurricane Ike. But it survived.
But I'm afraid I strayed from your question. I'm sorry. The house is built on piers about pilings about waist high.
Okay. All right. I'll tell you what, Andy, I got to let you go here, but can you tell me if people want to find the book, The Oleanders of San Leon, where do they find it?
Yes. Well, if you lived in the area, you could certainly buy the book from me, or I'm still a professional musician, and I play jobs in this area, and I always have books with me from now on.
Okay.
There is a website, and the website, the name of the book, again, is The Oleanders of San Leon. The house is called the Oleanders because in the spirit of the little islands where houses have names instead of numbers.
Oh, sure.
So it's called the Oleanders, and it's in a little bitty town called San Leon, which is near Galveston.
Okay.
So the book is available at a website called www.theoleandersofsanleon.com.
Okay, very good. Andy,
it's
thanks.
It's also available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and in bookstores everywhere, Jay.
Excellent. Thanks, Andy. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
I had a great time, Jay. Thank you very, very much.
That's Andy Upchurch. The book is The Oleanders of San Leon. Go and check it out at